Hey, what's good? Dr. Nancy Dome is a renowned speaker, author, coach, and in 2014, she co founded Epoch Education to provide leaders in education and business with accessible professional development to support equity efforts in pursuit of greater diversity, inclusion, and belonging. This is my conversation with Dr. Nancy Dome. Before we get into it, remember to go to coconutjustice.com to get you some clothes that I think would look good on you. Let's go. Hey, everybody. Because of all of this stuff that's happening out in the world today, I wanted to introduce you to one of the people that always brings me peace through knowledge and love. You guys, please meet Dr. Nancy Dome.
Hey there. Thanks
Hi,
for having me. Hey.
it's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
So to let everyone know right up front, Nancy and I met in Sonoma.
Hmm.
We've shared offices and we've worked together and we've done all the things. But Nancy works with, or she's the creator of Epic Education, and I'm going to let her describe what Epic is.
Yeah. So let's see, it's been 11 years, if you can believe that, Carlos. And it started off as an education consultancy supporting, education through looking at like DEIB issues like diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging. And I think as it evolved, probably around year five, part of my work as a professor was to do research. And so I developed a protocol, a communications protocol, which really fit into the work we were doing. And I realized actually had more implications as the foundation of all the work that we do. So somewhere around 2020, I shifted gears to be more around communication, effective communication, skill development.
Yeah.
Like that's great, but I don't know how to go about it. Well, the first thing is how do we communicate? And that means that we have to have a certain level of understanding and self-reflection and self-regulation to be effective. So Epic has had these iterations in our 11th year where now we work in corporate and education, really focused on developing communication skills to really shore up issues that they have around climate culture builds.
Hmm. How much pushback have you had? Well, how much pushback to DEI did you have when you first started it compared to like when the current presidency took over?
When I first started, there was very little pushback. The pushback was more on an individual basis, like people who didn't understand why they had to do this work,
Mm,
But a lot of it was prescribed. People had professional development dollars they had to spend. They had equity initiatives in their institutions. So if you worked in that institution, you didn't really have a choice. So the resistance was really at a more individual level. And I will say that while it was not part of our design when we made that shift to more of a communications company, it actually served us pretty well because, the work that we're doing now is about compassionate dialogue. And even the most like extreme person is you're gonna be kind of an ass if you're pushing against compassion. Like I'm really trying to figure out how to build bridges. I really am about connecting,
yeah.
and I do understand though, and what the product protocol shows us is that repair doesn't always mean a happy ending. Repair sometimes means we need to get up out of here. Repair,
Right.
and so I think that we've been positioned in a really kind of sweet spot right now to be part of a solution, right? Like of how to mend some of these fences, um, or how to tear them down, but do them from a place of full
If we're gonna,
knowledge, right?
yeah.
If
If
we're
we're
going to
gonna
do it, try
rebuild,
to be
might as well.
reactionary, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I've I've tried to explain to people. There, I run in groups that would rather remain silent, but um, talking to those folks about DEI and why we need DEI. I've been trying to explain to them. It's it's not, it's not the extreme that everyone is thinking about. Like it's not that we're asking for furries to be able to eat off the floor at work. That's not what we're doing. For me it's we found out that these corporations are exporting jobs,
Hmm.
and the few that are left is going to a certain group.
Demographic. Yep.
Right. Along your studies, can you prove to people that I'm not lying?
I don't. You know what? I mean, yes, and they can prove it to themselves. The thing is, if they want the answers, they can find them, right?
Yeah.
And so, we're in this kind of news cycle right now that just keeps feeding you more of the same. And people aren't really looking for truth. They're looking for validation.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of got to be the biggest shift, is that we have to become seekers of truth, even if that truth is contrary to what we believed, even if that truth is difficult to digest. Until we're honestly in pursuit of truth, we're gonna continue to be where we are right now. I mean, and truth looks like, I mean, there's some truths that I'm like, 100% happy with, but it's still the truth. So I'm not going to deny it because I don't like it, right? I'm going to embrace it and like figure out, if I don't like it, how do I shift it, right? But so the one of the larger things, and I'm curious to see what you think, I should try to find it. It was an interview that Trevor Noah did. I got to remember her name, and I'm ashamed that I can't think of it, but I will know it by the end of it. And it was kind of like, it was a title like The Death of DEI or something like that. And she really made it. It was the first time I'd really thought about it, because I've been so raised in this water of fighting for equity.
Mm-hmm.
But she was like, we knew this was gonna go like, so I've never been like, the work doesn't stop. Like, we knew, like, right now everybody was on this pendulum, and the pendulum was going to swing back, and so our work continues. And I really appreciated that lens, right? Like, our work continues, and maybe part of, and this will be up for some debate, but maybe part of the issue we have is that we've made it an initiative instead of trying to make it a part of how we do business, right? It needs, like, if there was equity, we wouldn't need DEIB. If systems were more just, those things wouldn't need to exist. So is our goal to keep putting a band-aid over it, or is our goal really to dismantle kind of the master's house, right? That's
Right.
Audre Lorde's work, and say, hey, let's rebuild in a way that sees all of us. And I find, maybe it's just because my butt is getting old. I'm find that I'm more interested in instead of putting a band-aid, in like dismantling.
That's now that I'm talking to more politicians, more grassroots politicians,
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning more about both parties,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm learning, but I'm getting a peek, just a peek behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, no me gusta. I am, I am, I'm there, and we're
Mm-hmm.
starting to see people that are like, the way we're doing this doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And I think that, hindsight, what I think was harmful to the work, I wrote this article, gosh, it's been like 20 years. In fact, I think maybe not 20, but I think we were sharing an office when I wrote this article,
Hmm.
and it was titled like white privilege versus white opportunity,
Hmm.
right? And because there was so much pushback on white privilege, and white folks just couldn't get past, I don't have privilege, I grew up poor, I worked for everything I have, that whole narrative. And without understanding that it was never about what you had, it's about opportunity. And I was like, maybe that misnomer is part of our thing. It's like, it's this white opportunity. You have opportunities, and you cannot deny it, that exists to you. It's that because of your skin color. But calling
Yeah.
it privilege, people have this definition about privilege in their head, and so they struggled with this. And so I wrote this article years ago about white opportunity, and can we get behind the fact that you have opportunity? Can you acknowledge like that some things are easier, not all things, but some things can be easier,
Right.
you know, and have that conversation. So I wonder how much the language has hurt us in this pursuit for people who are, and I'm not talking about extremes, I'm talking about people who are kind of in the middle there, who
Yeah.
who can look at what's happening right now and have feelings about it and know that it's not right, but
hmm
also not sure what is right, you know. And I think we lost those people um,
The
in some
same
of
thing
the
happened.
work they did.
Same thing happened with the climate.
Hmm. Hmm.
We, if we would have came out and said climate change, we, like I was a scientist, like I had something to say about it.
Hmm.
But when they first came out with global warming and it was a blizzard in Chicago, everyone was like, what? It's Whereas if you would have come out with climate change, because yeah, unfortunately, when you're doing the work and you're doing the research, you do need marketing to break things down to the normal people. So you can consume that information however it is that you consume it. But the fact still remains there's a problem. Whatever you name it, we can call it lollipops and rainbows if it makes it better.
Oh, lollipops and rainbows. Hey, but I think that to your point, I think that that language matters, right?
Right.
And I think that as we think about how to move forward, trying to figure out that language that folks can get behind, right? So,
hmm
not maybe as soft as lollipops and rainbows, but
Yeah.
also something that people can hold on to, right? I mean, because there's also this, I think this not a belief. It's like, well, like they just need to figure it out. They just need to get on board, but they're not, right? And so, what is our responsibility to invite people in? And it is, you know, there's people who think that my approach is weak, you know, sauce, because it's not hard enough, that like I'm too, you know, if white people like your work, then there's something wrong with your work, you know. And you know, I
Meanwhile, if your work is too hard, they're not accepting it,
they're not
and
and
so who
exactly. And
wins?
I've been in both of those environments. I've been in the environment where, you know, the presenters came out swinging, you know, and
Right.
if you're not ready, get out the room, you know. And for it works for me because I always got it. Like that approach does not bother me, but we're losing all the support. We're losing all the allies, and if we make it so unsavory for them, then not only will we lose them in our support, but they actually end up moving to the other side and become the people against you, right? And so I think it is a fine line. And you know, my job, I don't want anybody in my training. I think about everyone should have some level of discomfort. Otherwise, I'm not doing my job. But my goal is not that you walk out feeling shame or feeling belittled or feeling marginalized in any way. That is not my goal. That doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't serve me when someone makes me feel that way, and it's not going to serve you. And if I think about how would I like to be treated, and I do that, and that's what I put out into the world, that's what I tend to get back, right? And so, you know, haters are going to hate. Everybody, there's room for all of us to do this work. There's so much work to be done. Not just one way is the right way. I think that that's also part of the narrative, is that we need to understand that, you know, people may not resonate with me, so maybe they'll resonate with you, or maybe they'll resonate with somebody else. But all of us got to keep doing the work.
I always reflect when I'm hearing things like this. I reflect to where I am. Sonoma's, if you don't know, Sonoma is very white and brown.
Hmm.
When I see black people in the street, I get so excited, boy.
Literally, Eric and I
I'm
ran and
almost
hugged each other.
anti-racist. I get so excited. I'm like, hey, let me show
Hey,
you
hey,
all the
hey.
spots. Don't leave me.
Yep. No, I know. I know. I know.
But I get the opportunity to talk to some of my neighbors and some people out on the square or whatever, and they talk about, oh, if you only kept your hands where they can see them, and keep your
Mm,
hands on 10 and 2 when the cops are there. And I'm like, you understand, we know each other. I have had my hand. I'm not a troublemaker. I
mm-hmm.
have had my hands where they needed to be, and I still got pulled out of the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
I drove the proper speed limit, and because I made that left-hand turn, I got pulled over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even now, I'm starting to get these folks that are like, oh, this ICE stuff is so new. They've never. I'm like, are you kidding me? My childhood
Yeah.
was riddled. I was tired of seeing black and brown people getting jacked up by cops. I thought that was it. I was like, damn, for the rest of my life, I'm gonna be getting
This? Yeah.
this.
Yeah. 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 I mean, people, I think they, I don't think that those thoughts or comments come from a bad place. I think they come from a very naive place, right? I think they come from a place that says, if, because we've been told, even though it's never been true, especially for us, this society tells this message that if you follow the rules, you'll be okay. So obviously, if I'm not okay, I'm not following the rules. That is the jump in logic, right? But we know as black and brown people navigating largely white spaces that it doesn't matter if we're following the rules. That if we're in the wrong place at the wrong time, there's going to be a problem, you know? And, I remember one of my first times when I moved up to Sonoma, I literally got followed from, uh, uh, oh my gosh, what's the name of I don't know why I'm blanking on the area. I got followed from where I lived all the way into the square by a cop who made an illegal U-turn on Highway 12 to get behind me.
Hmm.
And when I pulled into that little, the Starling bar, I was and the funny enough, I
Yeah.
was meeting, someone in the city business, and I stood at the door. I'm like, "What you gonna do?" Like literally, like you have just followed me for like 6 miles, and I can't go any faster. And I just stared at him because I was a black face, here. And I
Yeah.
walk in, and I'm like, "Your people out there following me,"
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And we ended up, taking it to the police chief and having a conversation because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, and
Yeah.
it's intimidating. And if I knew that I wasn't meeting Bob, and if I didn't have the confidence that I have, that shit is crazy. It's scary to have a cop follow you as a black or brown person in this country because you don't know what's going to
Yeah.
happen next,
Yeah.
right? And I'm by
Yeah.
myself. There's
Right.
no one there. So yeah, I mean, that stuff is real. That stuff, and people are like, oh, but that, like it's a one-off. And I'm like, don't minimize what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
telling you that this is not a one-off.
Right.
Uh, have you been in jail? I have. Basically being black with a white boyfriend, in the wrong place at the wrong time in Arizona. So like, it's so can we suspend any doubt and really just be curious? And when someone tells you something like that,
Hmm.
seek to understand what their experience is instead of trying to tell me what my experience is, right?
Hmm. And then don't even think that it's just the cops.
Yeah.
I have a really wonderful story. I was riding my bike, and this is
Mm.
back when I had a job. This is when I was getting paid. So I was looking good. Had my little helmet on, had my
You always looking good though.
hello. You better tell
Hello.
them. You better tell them.
They don't know, but I
So,
know.
so on my bike, I was in a obviously residential area,
Hmm.
and this lady pulls me over. She was in a Jeep, and she
Mm.
like waves me down. So I thought maybe
Stop.
she was
It's like makes
lost.
you need help,
Yeah,
right?
I was like, "What's going on?" You lost? She goes, "Do you work around here?" I was like, "What?" I
Mm.
was like, "Nah, I'm over there in the big house. You should come over
On top of
sometime."
the hill.
Yeah. I'm on top of the hill. I just got
I
done
look down
coming.
at your house.
Your house is cute, bitch.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
And it's those things, like I have another story where, and it's, again, that's why I take things as, I try to accept things as humor or just plain lack of understanding, right?
Hmm.
How you gonna, how, if this didn't happen with anyone that you know,
Hmm.
but how is it that you're gonna bring your boyfriend, a Cuban dude, to your family's house and they decide to serve taco salad? Now I gotta sit here for 2 hours explaining to you the difference between a Cuban and a Mexican. That's my
I'm
life.
sorry. I'm
That's
sorry.
my life.
I'm sorry.
My life is a sitcom. No, laugh,
No,
laugh, because
it's
it's
I know it
hilarious.
is funny. It is funny. It'd be like someone like serving me up some fried chicken and watermelon in my house, a vegetarian. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I think, I think what you're hitting on is one point that I think people miss is that we got to have some humor in this. Because if not, if you can't laugh at
Listen,
it, then you're going to cry, right? It's
listen.
because it is that fine line, right? There is that fine line that it's like, I got to laugh at this.
Hmm.
Because I can't carry all of it. Um,
Right.
and
And I
laughter
don't
is
want
a
to.
really
I don't want to
beautiful
live my
release.
life that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you make
Absolutely.
me feel that way, I will leave. That goes back to that confidence you were talking about
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
don't, I am, and I say this to the politicians that I talk to now, I've done everything you told me to.
Mm-hmm.
I went and I got an education. I
Mm-hmm.
served the country. I
Mm-hmm.
got degrees. I
Mm-hmm.
worked real hard,
Mm-hmm.
only to come up to Silicon Valley and I find out that these knuckleheads are giving away all the jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did everything you said.
That's right. Yeah. And that's that's when we start to see this hierarchy too, because the irony about this is that this is a narrative for a lot of people of color, but it's also a narrative for white folks now, but they don't know what to do with it now.
Hmm.
Because before there was always a space for all of them, right? For
Hmm.
most of them. And now they're not just shipping jobs away from all, they're shipping all the jobs away, right?
Right.
So now you got kids who've been told if you keep your head down, you stay out of trouble. And I'm talking white kids. You go
Hmm.
to college, you get a degree, you get a job. And this is how we're getting into this debate now about they took my job. I'm like, that's still that entitlement white privilege piece, right? Like the fact that you think that the job that we both applied for was
Was
yours
yours
because
automatically.
automatically. That's a whole nother conversation. But that now there all so everyone's doing everything, and so now the only we have become the scapegoats. We were always the scapegoats. Now it's just this whole new level of I was reading this thing about, and I don't follow a lot of kind of celebrity news, but I've been interested in the thing going on with Bad Bunny, right? And so and so and then there was a post yesterday, someone telling Bad Bunny to go home, right? That we need an American playing at the Super Bowl and Bad Bunny needs to go home, and then someone, and it was a white woman, so I appreciate that, had to educate this person who said that where Puerto Rico was and what and that it was that they are American citizens, and the fact that he is an American who is multilingual, like,
You know
and
what I'm saying?
that is the ignorance, right? The ignorance. It's like, go back to where you came from. Go back, this is America. It's like, motherfucker, he was born in America. He is a U.S. citizen. You know what I
I
mean? He's
wonder.
not naturalized. He's not, like, and the
He
fact
was.
that they double down on this, right? So anyway, so I've been interested. I didn't even know who Bad Bunny was like 2 months ago because it's not my thing. But I'm like, he's my hero now. Like he's got a fan right now. He's got a fan
Yeah.
because
Yeah. That whole situation has just been hilarious.
mm,
That whole situation. They've had people from not here
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember his name. He makes all the party boat music. He's a Cuban dude. I'm trying to remember if he ever did the Super Bowl. I can't remember
This
if he
this
did.
person put a list out. They're like Phil Collins, Rihanna, Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
They listed all the people who were not Americans who did, and that was another thing. I was like, Rihanna's not American. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't,
And
because
even not for anything, because I know you don't listen to hip hop much, but or at all, but Nicki Minaj
yeah,
isn't even
he's
a
not American.
U.S.
See,
citizen, and she got one of these. She got one of those Trump gold cards, only to find out he's like, yeah, no, she didn't get.
you can't, no, no, you can't know this. Yeah. Oh no. So, yeah. So I don't know. That for me, going back to what I said at the very beginning, is like truth, right?
Yeah,
Like we have to be in pursuit of truth, and we cannot just accept something as true because of who told it to us. Like I hear stuff all the time now, even from people that I trust, and people. There's this one girl that I started following. She's called Political Girl, Politics Girl, or whatever. She's really good, but she said something that I was like, I need to go double check this, like
yeah,
because I hadn't heard it, right? And I was like, oh, I need to go double check this because I don't want to be that person either. That just because I agree with a lot of what she says and she's providing information, I don't want to assume that just because she said it that it's true. So I'm gonna go get get my own information, and I feel like now more than ever, especially with AI and everything going on, like we need to be fact checking every day, and we
one
need to
hundred
be
percent,
fact checking the facts,
100%.
right?
All you have to do is turn on the news, and you will see that they are straight up lying to you.
Straight up,
And then when you start doing research, you find out that they have been subtly lying to you this
the
entire
whole time.
time.
Yep, yep. And building a case to get us to where we are. Someone was talking, and they were like, "This just didn't happen yesterday. Like the seeds of this was planted, you know, decades ago. Just and it's just little, slow, insidious. The slow takeover of local councils, of local school boards. You know, like the plan book, right? And they're like they were in for the long game, right? And then all of a sudden, we're all living our lives, doing our thing, and all of a sudden it feels like bam, but this stuff has been happening for decades.
Yeah. I've been I've been doing a little bit of research and checking in with smart people like you and scientists and like all kinds of stuff. Um where was I going with that? ADHD just kicked me right in my head. The fact that the American populace is so gullible
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
goes back to like the 70s. Because when TV first started and everything, we had conjunction junction, what's
What's
your
your
function,
function?
right?
Hey, hey.
And things were like educational and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But then in the 70s, the deindustrialization of America started happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically when they wanted to have America um, be like the thought leader of the world. And we would invent things, but then we would have China and Taiwan and all these other places build the thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden, they forgot to invest in education. Shh. And now we have people that you're looking at fake imagery, and you have a president who is telling you to not believe your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and has been doing this since last time he was in
Mm-hmm.
office,
Mm-hmm.
and people just eating it up
Yeah.
like soup.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that is when we think about the defunding of education, the way that, and it's been a gradual thing and it's been ongoing, and
Hmm.
Cal, California, one of the most progressive in the union, but Prop 13 put a hole in education, back in the 70s, right? And when they took out the taxes, the property taxes from funding schools, and so so you start to see this decline in education. You start to see this kind of mass production of curriculum, that's telling a singular narrative, right? So it's one story, one side, one perspective, and you basically brainwash a nation on lies. There was an he has since passed away in the last couple of years, but he was a brilliant man. His name was Dr. James Lowen, and he wrote the book called "The Lies My Teacher Told Me." And what he did was he took the active current textbooks, U.S. history books, and he called them out for all the lies that were printed in there. And then what he did was he put the primary sources. So it wasn't just that he was telling you that this was a lie, but he was putting the primary resource in there to show you the truth.
Yeah.
Right. And literally our curriculum is riddled with lies like that. I'm a product of Los Angeles Unified School District, right? So I learned all those lies. Even when you think about the stories we told. It's Black History Month, so let's throw a little bit of that. Let's talk about Rosa Parks. And we did this kind of thing where we went to Chicago and we went to Portland, and we did it like a 60 not 60 minutes what was that, street scenes where you walk up to someone on the street. I can't even remember what it's called, but anyway, that's me getting old. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was like, so the question was, tell us who Rosa Parks was, and I felt like the Stepford Wives, like literally every single person was like, oh, she was the Black woman who refused to give up her seat on the bus. I mean, like the words were identical. It's like we have memorized this, right?
Yeah.
And that was me too. That's who Rosa Parks was for me for a long time. Some people who knew a little more were like, yeah, it started the bus, the bus boycott. And I was
Montgomery
like,
Boys.
yeah.
What's going
But I was like, okay. I said, but so let's talk about. Did you know that she worked for the NAACP? And they're like, what? She was a seamstress. I'm like, and she was a secretary for the NAACP.
Yeah.
And then the
I
next,
didn't even know she was a seamstress. I thought she was the secretary for the
yes,
NAACP.
you actually learned the truth. You didn't know the narrative, but the story is really about like this old, and she wasn't even old, right? They just old, tired Black woman refused to give up her seat on the bus. She was a seamstress. Well, then you go on to find out when you know the history that they had actually planned this, that this was planned on this day that she was going to do this, right? And then, a year and a half before, they had tried it before, but the woman they tried it with was too dark. She was too young and she was pregnant. And so she couldn't capture the hearts of the people, so nobody knew about it. So they were like, we need an older woman. She need to be light skinned. You know what I mean? So that she can do. But like, so I had to learn this. But this is the thing: is that as we did these street scenes, if we interviewed maybe 30 people, maybe two actually knew the truth, because we're products of a system that it. And then I asked, why do you think that is the narrative everybody has? And they're like, I was like, think about it though. If it was an accident, it's not replicable. Say that 10 times fast, right? Can't replicate it. Woo! Um, this is menopause too. Let's keep it real. Like I'm not my brain. Um, but if you know that it was a planned, like that the work that had to go in, that the civil rights movement, that they planned this and executed and it worked. That's too much power, right? That's too much. So if that's a story I'm told, all of a sudden as a young Black kid in school, I have some pride here. I had pride in the original story, but now I'm like, oh, we can organize. Oh, we can actually do something for change. And so keeping these narratives of, the accidental hero, this things actually disempowers an entire group of people from believing that they can actually enact change themselves. And so, it's not an accident that our system is like this. It keeps us, we are brainwashable because we don't teach critical thinking anymore.
We don't teach research. We don't even teach cursive.
Although I did hear that writing's coming back, like because people can't write.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like
Shout
everyone
out
can't be a
writing.
doctor, so yeah, like so you got to learn how to write at least. Like I got grown ass people who can only print.
Yeah. Yeah. Not me. It depends on what I go all capitals and cursive all in the same sentence.
Well, but that's a choice. That's a choice, and I think that is also it. It's like, you know, code switching is a choice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
being able to write cursive is a choice, but if
Yep.
that choice is taken away from you,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like our education system is taking away a lot of choice. It's creating like we're zombies. I mean, and it's disheartening because all of a sudden the rest of the world, as you were saying earlier, we've been shipping out all this stuff to other countries to mass produce for us to build. But when we decided to like divest from education in the way that we were, now you got people who can't do
Right.
anything. We all of a
Right.
sudden trades
You're
were.
all gonna be you guys are gonna become servants.
Yeah. Well, that and we can't even really do that.
I mean,
We can't even clean well. Sorry. Can't make a bed, can't clean a toilet. Like, what can we do? We'll consume. We can spend money. We can
uh,
work these dead end jobs and then come home and then give it all away.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got like,
I've read some goofy things, and they just talking about how there is this upper crust of people that are just ready for poor people to die off, and like this is part of that push
and say more because I honestly like just die off to what end? Just to be gone so that
to
there's
be
less
gone.
population.
So,
Just
yeah,
just
they
rich
want robots, they want AI,
people.
people people that aren't idea people, and people that aren't um move makers. You know what I mean? Like the PayPal mafia, like the Elon Musk, the Peter
Mm-hmm.
Thiels, those guys,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those guys, they want robots and AI. They want to be in control of everything, and we are just a liability.
Mm.
And so they want to do away with us.
That's an interesting thought.
And either you can move to a different country, or you could just sit here and struggle until you pass away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. You know, I wonder because I've never been rich, so I don't know. But I wonder, like, if part of the problem is like the more money you get, the more bored you are, right? As only someone who's
Yes.
been poor can say, right?
Right.
Because I'm sure
You know
there's
what
someone
it
like, well,
is?
she obviously never had no money, but because all of a sudden you require more to interest you, because like I remember the first time I went to Europe. I was 19. My mom was living there, and I went over, and I was like, oh my God, like it was a whole new experience to me, right? And so there are still so many things in the world that will make me have that reaction that I'll see for the first time, that I'll be like, oh my God, like, wow. But when you have everything and you've seen everything,
Right.
there's,
And
for
there's no
me,
friction. There's no friction at all in your life.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
You can
that's,
do what you want, when you want, how you want. And you have the thing about people with money, or let me say it like this: the people that don't have money, they get so, that wow thing that you felt when you went to People get like that when they bump into people with money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so to be able to stick with that person,
Mm-hmm.
you start to see people changing who they are. You start to see changing of their values. That's why Diddy did his thing. That's why, you know what I mean? Like people just want to be associated to that lifestyle.
Yeah. I'd
So,
like to find out, Carlos. I'd like to find, I want to find
right. I
out.
want people to kiss my ass too.
I say that half jokingly, but like when the lotto got crazy, remember, like just like
Hell yeah.
the lotto was like $1
Me
billion
and my family
dollars.
kept, hey, you got five? We
I
get
yeah, I was like
75.
everybody. I was like collecting. I was like, we gonna do it because I would be that. I would most of that would go away. Like I had already spent like more than half of it in my mind, but it was all like for me. There's not much better joy than being able to give something, right? To provide
Right.
something, to be a part, like be a part of change. Like, what do I need $1 billion for? What do I even need, 100 million for? Like,
Right.
I don't.
To be what?
I'm
Lazy?
almost
Or
60.
not
To do
lazy,
what?
but lonely?
Yeah. Like, so so I think about that, about rich people being bored, and I think the adjust, and I don't know anybody who's super super rich. I mean, I have friends who have money, right, and would probably be in the maybe 10-20%, maybe 20%, right? I don't know no one
Mm.
in the 1%, like
Right.
personally,
Right.
so I don't really know that. But the people that I know that are in that 20% do a lot of service. They give a lot, and I think that, and it's remembering that, like, we are only as good as our neighbors. We're only as good as the people that surround us. This is a society. You don't live in isolation, unless you're 1% where you have your own island. But most of us don't have an island, and so if my neighbor's struggling, then it behooves me to support that neighbor, because if the struggle gets too real, they might come for what I got too. You know what I mean? It's like people.
Right.
Well, I
Right.
mean, that's it. Like people gonna do what they need to do to survive. Like I'm thinking about, like, shifting gears a bit, but I'm thinking about like this. They're taking people, taking parents with multiple kids who are not, like, who are babies, leaving them by themselves with no, and so with no income, with no. So what do you think is going to happen? So are we also trying to create the next group of criminals to incarcerate? Because when I start stealing money because my baby sister is hungry, or stealing food because we don't have any food in the house.
Or something. I've been using this example because it's so easy. Let's say you're going to work and you don't quite have enough for the subway, and you jump the turnstile. Now you bust. Now you're gonna go to jail for what? $5?
Yeah,
$4?
yeah, 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 yeah. There was this kid. He's by himself. He's waiting for a foster placement. 17 years old, has a car, or 16 years old, sleeping in his car in a Walmart parking lot, and they call the police on him. He sleeps there, and he goes into this, like, restaurant and buys dinner when he can, when he has some money to do it. Not stealing, not doing anything. Got his backpack studded in his car. Police officer arrests him, tows the car. He goes to court, and the kid is like, he's like, I'm waiting for a placement. I have nowhere to sleep. I tried to spend money so that I'm there. I got my backpack. I'm going to school every day. And the judges was like, find the police officer, $500. It was like, the system has failed him. You arrested someone who is trying to.
Yeah.
And I had never. It gives me chills just thinking about it. And I'm like, thank you. So find the police officer $500 for basically wasting the court's
For being
time
an ass.
and doing it. But, like, and why isn't that part of, like, that's the critical thinking? You got all these people in these positions of power who aren't really about, like the model here in San Diego is protect and serve, and like I have no complaint with San Diego PD. I don't know, but my question is, are you
Right.
right? Are you
Right.
protecting and serving
Right.
the people that you've been put? And that's me,
Right.
right?
And you couldn't, as a police officer, well, granted, I know these days, everyone, every lawyer I talk to, they're like, whenever a cop shows up, just shut up.
Hmm. Yeah,
So it'd be tough. But that kid, as a police officer, I would have to ask, like, hey, what's going on?
right, right.
And then if you tell me, oh, I'm just here because of, and here are my books and all this stuff, like,
Yeah. Why aren't I trying to figure out how to help you? Why aren't because
right. Like
that's
all of a
also
sudden this police
protecting.
officer is
Right.
a, what are they called? A counselor? Or he should be a counselor,
Yeah.
but a
Well, or some
social
counseling
worker. Not,
skills.
all of a sudden it, it's, their training is
Yeah.
they're being trained incorrectly.
Yes. Yeah.
They need
Because
way more social work. They need way
right.
more.
Right. Because that's also part of your job, right? It's not just
Right.
about when crimes are happening to go in, guns ablazing,
Right.
it's about serving the people who need help. So this kid needed help. He needed a loving adult because he was doing the best he could. He wasn't breaking, well, outside of the law of sleeping in his car and, in a parking lot that he wasn't allowed to. He wasn't hurting anybody. He wasn't stealing anything. He
Right.
wasn't, and instead of helping him, we arrest him. And that is a fundamental problem. And then what kind of trauma does that create for this kid? And then what is the relationship that this kid has with law enforcement moving
Because
forward?
living in the car isn't traumatic enough.
Yeah, seriously. And living alone in a car
Yeah.
as a 16-year-old,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've we've lost a lot of our humanity, like that.
Truly.
I really do. I feel like, we look at each other. I walk around literally now with a t-shirt that says like love is an action word, and that's now my official t-shirt. I
Yeah.
travel in that. I do. Because I feel like you look at me and you've already made an assumption about who I
Hmm.
am or if I'm safe to talk, and then when I speak and then they're like, "Oh, she can put two words together."
I get that too. I'll be walking around, especially when I'm walking my dogs, and I say to people, "Hey, how are you today?" And they look at me like, "What? I hope you're well." They're like, "What?"
And no accent?
No leaf blower, nothing.
No replay. Stop. Stop. Oh Lord. Mm,
Were you? You told us that you're a product of the LA Unified School District.
I am.
Have you always wanted to be
No.
a world changer?
Yes, yes, but not as a teacher. Like if you would have told me, honestly, I don't know. I was in my 20s before I even figured that out, but I wanted to be, I knew probably around 11 or 12 that I wanted to be a social worker. That's actually what I
Oh.
wanted to help people. I was a good communicator. I like people. I'm
Mhm.
very social. And so that's my undergrad was psychology. And I got a scholarship to do my master's in Europe to coach, and they would exchange for my master's. And I was going for MSW. And I got there and the program was gone. They were like, "Oops." And I was like, they're like, "Why are you doing I was like, "What do you mean, what am I here? Like, I sold everything I own. I got my two bags. I'm a new graduate." And they're like, "Well, we
I
sent
came
you a
here to
letter."
fix people.
Right. And they were like, "Well, we sent you a letter, but we sent it." I was like, "Well, where did you send it to?" Well, they're like, "Well, we sent it to the San Diego campus." I'm like, "Well, I graduated. Like, they're not forwarding mail." So I was like, "Y'all need to figure it out because I sold everything and I'm here and I only had a one-way ticket and the
Yeah.
student visa." So they gave me 2 years and they said you can choose between a master's in business administration or a master's in education were the two. And I was like, well, I know nothing about business. So education is as close to, psychology I'm going to get. And I wasn't ready to work and I wasn't ready to go back home. So that, it's kind of like all this divine intervention that kind of got me in the path. But no, I didn't. I always wanted to change the world. I did, but I did not think it would be as an educator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
How about
It's
you? Did you always want to
it's
change the world?
I've always wanted to make movies.
And change the world through movies?
Now,
You're like,
now,
yeah.
now that I've seen the inner workings, I'm like, y'all built some bullshit.
Yeah. And sold us some bullshit, right? And
How
like, and
about it? So
seriously.
yeah, no, I've always wanted to do animation. I've always wanted to
Yeah,
make
you're so
films and
good.
stuff.
You're so
And
good.
and thank you. Um,
You're welcome.
and it's funny because divine intervention again, it I'm making movies, doing my cartoon thing, doing tutorials, doing all the things, and I started, getting some momentum on YouTube. And then I had a conversation with my girl Lady Champ. She's in the Breakdance Hall of Fame.
Uh-huh.
And then I had a conversation with my boy Mike, who's a rapper out of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Mike, he got bit by the podcast bug. And this goes back to us like bringing people with us.
Mm-hmm.
Mike is like, "Hey, is it cool if I invite a couple people to come and do podcasts with us?" And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, bitch, because if I'm rich, we rich.
That's right.
I'm not trying to do this by myself."
Yeah. Hey, can we even, right? Like
Right,
really?
right. And so then like that turned into I had a conversation with this professional comedian. He tears MAGA a new one, and it's no holds barred. He don't even care. He told me on the podcast, he told me that Florida MAGA men will fuck an alligator in church. I said, good Lord.
And even I gotta get all that visual going. Holy cow.
And then that just kept going into, and then that turned into Sergeant Rhodes, and then that turned into, and now I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to all kinds of people
Yeah.
that want to change the world in a
Yeah.
positive way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's at the point where my girl says, no matter or everything that you've done up to this point hasn't really made sense until now.
Wow. Wow. And maybe that's it too, because it's a journey, right?
Right. And for me, it's always been about the journey.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people on the channel, I've won basketball championships, I've played baseball and all that stuff. I love the high pressure. I love it. I'm taking the shot
Mm-hmm.
every time, every time. But for me, it's always the journey. Because
Yeah.
once you get the championship, whatever, it's done. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Yeah.
there's that. Now what am I going to do?
Yeah. 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 And if we could focus on that instead of the outcome,
Hmm.
and instead of being so tied to what something has to look like at the end,
And
and
then,
really be present as we and be open, right? Because if it
right,
wasn't for those little detours, like you got to be on some kind of path, because you
right,
can't get nowhere if you ain't going nowhere, right?
right.
So, but you're on a path, and if we could just release attachment to it looking a certain way and being open to when those kind of forks in the road happen, and if your intuition, trusting our intuition to say, wow, I want to take that road less traveled, I'm gonna go right instead of left,
Hmm.
like what it opens up for us sometimes is truly miraculous. But we just have to be open to it. And I think so many people are they have one limited perspective about what something needs to look like. And it's not that they're wrong, but when it doesn't look like that, they can't even enjoy what it is,
Right,
right? Because it doesn't
right,
look like what they thought it should. And so I
right.
think that's also a shortcoming of humanity is, we're so rigid instead of being,
Yeah,
we got to be more like water. I mean, water could teach us a whole lot, because water over
so
time
much.
can create a canyon. Like, it's
Right.
powerful, but it's just like,
But you need more than just a drop.
yeah. And you just gotta, if it moves you to the right, go to the right.
Go to the
If it's
right.
too hard, go to the right,
Right.
or go to
And
the
it's
left.
those things, for as loose as I am, I'm not religious. But For as loose as my religious bumpers are in my life, I I always I always have whatever God is to you. I always
Hmm.
have that in my
Yeah.
mind,
Hmm.
and I go off of everything that I've learned about being a good person, whether it was in the Bible, whether it's in a book, whether it's in a conversation, whether it's whatever. And then I take those and I build stories because it's all about the path. And I can tell you about some lady making taco salads and not be offended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing, like your rigidity of who you want to be. People are going to think about who you are their own way anyway. You can't control that.
Right, right. Well, and you know what? And if we spend less time being offended, we can actually spend more time educating, right? Because
Yeah.
you know that gesture came from a good place, right? And that's
Right.
that the intention, right?
Right.
Um, Twisted, upside down, backwards. But the origin, the intention came from a good place. And so, I like to make this distinction between intention and impact, right? I can appreciate a good intention. And can you appreciate that the impact is a little belittled, whatever that impact
Right.
is, right? And
Right.
it's not either or. It's not like this good, bad, black, white binary. It's both. Like there was a good intention and it had a negative impact, and that's okay, but can we grow and learn from that? And if we could, that's part of that fluidity I'm talking about. It's like, I can make a mistake and do something well intended, but well, I meant well, like we're so locked into, well, I meant well, but it doesn't matter if you mean well if the impact is not well. It's like, yeah, I understand that, and can you acknowledge that it didn't land the way you thought, and yeah, I mean that's I think, what do they call that? Emotional intelligence, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you've got to be emotionally intelligent. You've got to be secure enough and understand that we are all on a growth journey. That if you're not learning and growing, you're dying. Like there's it's
Right.
not either or, and we have to normalize failure as a part of that growth process. I can't grow and get better if I don't fail first. And
Yeah.
so, but we're so afraid of failure that we don't even take risk anymore. We're safe, and we stay with the same people who don't challenge us, and the same people who, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone finds their comfort zone and it's easy. It's easy to sit still.
yeah, yeah. Well, and we, with this, I guess the best way, like we're comfortable. I feel like we're almost too comfortable, right? Because like even though I don't have a lot, I have more than I had, right? I got it. And I'm comfortable and I don't want to lose this comfort, so I ain't gonna rock the boat, right? So we're not willing, although, hell, I cannot be prouder of Minneapolis, like friggin'
Listen,
they're like people were like, it don't matter. They in the
it was cold and they were out in
and
the
they were
tens
out
of
there.
thousands.
And I think, and that is a tipping point of sorts, right? Where
Right.
people are finally opening their eyes to say, I can't sit in my comfort and feel good about who I am while this is happening out there.
Hmm.
And so I got to be a part of it. And yeah, and more of us need to feel that way. I was reading something, someone that I know posted something, and it's so hard for me when I see people defending this administration. It's so hard for me, like
Still,
defending what they're doing to people and to families and to children,
yeah.
defending arresting um US citizens, because they
Hmm.
brown,
Hmm.
or trying, looking at like if they
Shooting
keep
the
doing
white
what they're
ones.
doing, like I could be deported at some point,
You look Cuban to me.
No, just because because now, there's no, being born here don't matter anymore. That's what they're
It does
trying to
not.
do, right? And so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're born here. Um, and uh, and they're defending it by saying, but look at all the other things that have happened. All the things that are good, and I'm like, it's again, it's not black, it's not either or. Like you the end cannot justify the means, right? Because this one thing is good. You cannot justify, you know, needing to deal with our immigration issue by what we see happening right now. Like those two things are incongruent. You can want immigration reform, but you cannot justify the way in which we are doing it. And if you are like, and this is my like, and there's someone who does this work who's like all about like, let's have these conversations, let's lean in. I'm willing to lean in, but I have to say that like, I read that and it just like I just like I'm like I need to silence this this thread for a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what I'm trying to tackle, and I do believe it's both. Like we need to work on that individual level, but like what I'm working on right now is bigger. Like I
Right.
want to have a greater impact, and so sometimes I just have to kind of quiet that noise for a minute. And there's going to be an opportunity when we're face to face where I can say something, but I don't need to get into it online, right? And I need to keep
Right.
doing what I'm doing, which is the work that I'm doing out in the world every day right now. But it's crazy because I just like you realize that, and I'm sure people feel that. Although I've been see the thing is you've always known who I was, right? Like there ain't no secret. Like you're not like, oh, she's an activist. Like you're not surprised by that, right? So what? So like I wish people would just tell us who they were like up front. Tell me who you are in the beginning before I
Right.
can attach.
Right. Right.
Oh, I don't know, Carlos.
Right. I mean, we could put our resume on our
Hey,
t-shirts, but
hey,
let me tell you that one. I let someone who cares about me take a look at my resume. I say, "Hey, take a look at my resume out here because I haven't I Nancy, I haven't had a job since 2017.
woo, that's all right. You doing it, right?
Yeah, I'm paying the bills. I haven't had to ask for too much money."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I hear you.
But I was told, "Whoa, your resume's big around here. Why don't you should take a couple things off." And I said, "So what happened to merit? What happened to best man for the job?"
Yeah.
And he just looked and laughed.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, that's it. You know what I'm saying?
That says it
So
all. That
it's
says it
like
all,
it's
right?
like don't and my brain is fun. I've been now that I'm older and just taking time to navigate my brain. I was going somewhere with that too. Um,
My brain is older.
yeah, but when you again when you try to do all those things and you order up business owners, order up, give me everything that you can do at the best that you can do and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I give you that bad motherfucker that you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
only to turn around and
And
see
be
that you're
told.
giving my job to like three and four other people
Mm-hmm.
because they're more affordable.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, and then I turn around and I look at you jacking people up that look like me in the streets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you wonder where people, places like ISIS comes up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
doing to me and my people same thing you're doing to the Palestinians.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing you're doing to the people over in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing you're doing to people over in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
tearing families apart, and then you're asking us to tap back into this bullshit
Mm-hmm.
system that you have going on.
Yeah. Yep. 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 And that's hard, right? Like how do you how do you not play the game and still do what you need to do, right?
Right.
And still and or how do you play the game and then try to work from inside? Like it's like I don't think there's
Right.
one right answer, right? I think
Right.
people figure out how to do both. I mean, like for me, my figuring out was like start a business because the game wasn't working for me. Like higher ed did not work for me. The only thing that, alternative ed, high school K-12, that worked for me. Like that was probably my
Yeah.
happiest place.
Yeah.
But it was my happiest place because of the people I got to serve, right? The kids I got to serve, and I saw the impact that I was making. But everywhere else was just kind of like, you didn't really want me, because if you really wanted me, then you wouldn't be pushing back on what I'm choosing to do my research on. Like you're giving too much time to juvenile court and community schools. I'm like, I am the only one on this faculty of 30 who is doing any work with any group of kids that look like me,
Yeah.
south of the 8 freeway down here. And I am too limited in my research, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I started a business because I'm like, you know what? I can be poor and work for myself and make my own rules, or I can be super poor and work
Working
for
for
you
working on somebody else's
and
dream.
working on, yeah, and making somebody else rich, right? Or working
Yeah.
with fools who, I had a student tell me, I was all excited. I got this video, it was this, her name is Erin Gruelle, and she was a white student teacher out of Long Beach.
Yeah.
And she became famous, and her kids became famous because she created she renamed them as the Freedom Writers, right?
Okay.
And she introduced the Freedom Riders to them. She was basically doing this class, this detention class, right? And she changed the circumstances of these kids' lives. She went in there. She's like, they didn't know all this, so they didn't know about the Holocaust. She just went off, right?
Yeah.
See, now I caught your disease. I was trying to see where I was going with this. Um, oh my God. Oh yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It just lost, but it's a good story about, and totally not what I was gonna say, but since I forgot what I was gonna say, I'm gonna go there. Great story to show that, even though we're talking and focused on people of color, like white people have a role. This is our issue. It's not you and it's all of our issue, right?
Right. Right.
And the fact that she could go into this school, kind of considered inner city, as a white young student teacher, teaching all black and brown kids, all of them. I don't think there was a white kid in her class to start. And have the impact that she has shows that we can all do this, right? What
Right.
what you have to have is a level of desire, right? So that's, and when I do remember what I actually wanted to say, I will say it later.
I know. That's my brain is like that. I try to paint the picture
Huh?
and
And
then
then
I
in the
forget the
painting, you get
story.
lost. They're gonna be
I'm
like,
like, and then the flowers are red, and you're like, you were just talking about going to the bathroom.
I apologize in advance to your listeners. I'm usually much more coherent, but yeah, yeah, it just is what it
Yeah,
is today.
it happens. Take a look.
Yeah.
But again, that's what's exciting with the people that I've been talking to lately
Hmm.
is because you do see younger generation who came up with the internet. We didn't have the internet. We had
No.
dusty encyclopedias.
Yes. Yes.
This younger generation is coming in and they are looking at the watch to see when they qualify to run for Congress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kaya Creekmore is a young black man, grew up single mother, and I think it was 4 kids. He was the oldest of 4.
Hmm.
And now he's running for Congress in North
Awesome.
Carolina.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a text message from someone in the Democratic Party in Montana, and asking me to run for office.
Yeah.
So someone's, yeah, and I was like, you know
I
what?
have a I have a buddy out there, Russell Cleveland, if you've seen any of his announcements.
No.
He's been on
Oh,
the channel.
yeah. he's in my district, I think.
District 1?
Well, I don't. So Russell, white guy
Mm-hmm.
in Plains, Montana.
Okay, I'll go with that.
No, I'm asking because there's a
No, that's,
Cleveland.
yeah, I'm asking.
No, there's a Cleveland running for office
Yeah.
out of, and that is my area. That's like 20 minutes from where I live.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if his name is
He's
Russell.
one of the guys that are, he wants to get money out of politics. He
Yeah.
wants to, because I guess Ryan
Oh,
Zinke is
hmm
your
hmm
representative now? Yeah.
hmm
I think Russell took a picture of Ryan Zinke's car. It had the license plates from California
Yeah.
on
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
There's a or like who I think it was him too okay, so Montana ain't no joke. If you ain't from Montana, if you're not a resident of Montana, if you want to hunt, fish, whatever that, you're gonna pay an arm and a leg, period. It's gonna
yeah,
be like 5 times the amount that a resident is gonna pay. And because he didn't want to pay those fees as an out-of-stater, even though he was not legally a resident of Montana, he lied and said he was so he could get the resident rate for his
oh my
hunting and
God.
fishing licenses. So,
Oh
so
boy.
like people calling that stuff out, I appreciate that. Because it's like, and you got money,
And you have money
and you have money.
and
Like, what's
all the
up? And you don't
networks
want to
and all the
spend it.
connections. How dare you, sir?
So I'm looking him up right now. District 1.
Yeah, Russell
Oh
Cleveland.
yeah, yep, he's the same one. I met him at the fair. I was working the fair. I'm raising money for a pickleball court. And so I got to work
Pickleball
my
is fun.
first fair, and he was there. I met him, and his daughter is a volleyball player.
That's cool.
Yep. So she's a senior this year. So,
Yeah.
and I coached volleyball. So this is all that to say that I got to meet him a couple times.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he's a good guy. I like him quite a
Have
bit.
you interviewed him on the show?
Yeah. I'll send
Oh,
the link to
cool.
you. I'll send the link to
Oh
you
yeah, please,
when I'm
please,
done.
please. Small
Yeah.
world, huh? Look at that. Nobody knows anybody from Montana. They think Montana is Yellowstone. The
Yeah.
show. Like they're like the first question people ask me, like when I say it, how much land do you have? Do you have water? And so when Taylor and I started dating, my neighbors when I was in Sonoma invited us to dinner, and Diana, rest her peace, because she passed away. She says to him, she was my neighbor in the Greens, and she said, "So, how much land do you have?" And he looked at her, and he's like, "That's like asking a person how much money they have." And she's like,
Yeah.
"Right, I shouldn't have." Like it's just that kind of
Yeah.
like, let me figure out who you are kind of thing. Right? They have this big romantic notion about what Montana is, and I'm like, you know what? The community that we're in, that Russell is in, um, we're one of the poorest counties in the state,
Yeah.
with a median income of about between 12 and $18,000.
What?
Like it's crazy, right? And these are predominantly because also if you think I was a spot in Sonoma,
Ah.
I can't go
You know,
nowhere.
hey, you know, whenever
Everybody knows my name. They're like, "Hey, Nancy." I'm like, "I don't even know who you are." But I love my community, so I'm not talking bad about I love my
Right.
community for that
Yeah.
reason, but it was one of those things like I need to be involved. People need to know and care about me.
Right.
you know.
Right. I need you
Mm.
locked in because whatever you see on TV, that ain't me. That ain't me. So you're a volleyball player.
Yeah, and a pickleball player now.
Yeah. Pickleball is fun.
It
I
is
like
fun.
pickleball.
Yeah, I just won my first tournament last weekend.
Yeah.
Yep, amateur, 50 and over, 3-0. I
How
didn't
them knees
know.
holding up?
Well, they were replaced, right? 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and then I had that real bad issue with the one, and so finally 2 years ago they redid that one. and my life is completely different.
Yes, ma'am.
Completely different. So I'm now, but now I lost, 10 years of losing muscle mass and gaining weight. So now I'm trying to lose weight and, get it together. But my knees feel so good, and I'm more active than I've been in a decade. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's all good.
Did being a volleyball player help you in your earth-changing endeavors?
You know, being a volleyball player, I would say, is outside of key people in my life, probably the number one reason that I am as educated as I am and that I am able to do the work that I do. It provided me access that we grew up literally on food stamps. You know, we were poor, and the only way, and I'll say this first, the only way that I was going to college was on a scholarship. Fortunately, I was that good that I could, play Division 1. And but I have this little warning thing because I say that, and and people are really excited and celebrate it, but the fact that we have such limited channels for what people of color, like, it's either sports or music, and then
Yeah.
there's no other
Yeah.
way you're going to get that, so I don't want like I got to live a dream, but the reality of how difficult it is, especially today, to secure one of those spots, and the fact that that's still where we're pushing kids of color to go, as opposed to saying, like, why aren't we, telling our kids that they can be doctors and they can be lawyers and they
Right.
can, so I struggle with that, but it truly was my saving grace, right? I got my undergraduate, my graduate, and my doctoral work all because of volleyball, playing
Yes, ma'am.
first and then coaching in the end. I coached for 4 years while I was doing my full time going to school at night.
Yeah.
And they couldn't pay me no money, but they could give me an education. So
I'll take it. Is
I'll
going
take
for that anyway.
it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool though. That's
Yeah.
cool that you were able to open those doors for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
basically for yourself. Your ability opened those doors,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I think, like, where, I do wonder, like, where would I have been,
Yeah.
right, if I
Yeah.
wasn't, and also if like, I do not I am so glad that I am not 18 today trying to play volleyball.
Ooh. I am glad I'm not
Because,
18 today, period.
period, yes, yeah, let's just say that, right? But
70s were so easy compared to this.
so easy, right? Like, and we were so active. I think I was strong because, like, there was no sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
You watch TV on Saturday
We
mornings. That
were
was it.
feral.
That was it. You're on your bike, you walking, you running, you're swimming, you're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I was 5'10". I'm shrinking, but I was 5'10", 195 pounds, right? So I'm playing Division 1 volleyball, and they've never seen, players at that time. The average weight was like 135, 150 maybe, if
Mm-hmm.
they were 6'2" or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent my first year with my coach having me on a perpetual diet because I was overweight. And
You're
because,
like, damn it, I'm big boned.
well, yes, I am big boned. Yes. And so, and I kept telling him, and he's starving my ass, literally starving my ass. Like, you got to lose 20 pounds, and I'm weak and I'm hungry and I'm hangry. And finally, because he's got the trainer, like beating me up, like the trainer, and Heidi was amazing, but she's like got me on like on the
Yeah.
bicycle, and I'm doing double day practices, and I have to do an extra run because I got to lose all this weight, right? So finally, I just lose my shit, and I'm just like, oh well, and part of it, like, this is when bioimpedance came out. So there was this whole thing, they hooked you up to electrodes and they measure your body fat. So the bioimpedance said that I was 30-40% body fat, which is what started all this craziness. And I'm like, I'm looking at my body and I'm like, I know I
There's
am
no
not
more coming
34%
off.
body fat, but he don't believe it because this is what the test told him. So finally, he's breaking me down so much, and I finally was like, you need to do the caliper, like the good old fashioned caliper body fat test. So we go down to San Diego State to their gym, and they do the caliper, and and they're like, he's like, so what is it? And he's like, she's 17% body fat, and he's like, oh, because that whole scale, that whole like you 5'10", you're supposed to weigh
Yeah,
135.
yeah,
6 foot, you're supposed to weigh whatever. Like it wasn't normed on us. It wasn't normed on me.
exactly.
My wrists are 7.5 inches,
Yeah.
right? Like it was, and so then I kind of gave him the look, and I was like, "Can I eat now?" Like,
Can I get a
you know,
sandwich?
because I've been hungry for like
Protein bar or something?
2 months. But I mean, but that is, that's kind of that institutionalized racism, right? That kind
Yeah.
of, like so then, I'm this big player, and they didn't see nothing, and I was strong and powerful, so I had a great career. Now, I went to a game. They have a pro team here in San Diego, and I went to a game. I'm like, all these white girls are bigger than me. I look little now, like. And when I say bigger, I don't mean just taller. I mean like they are
Stronger.
strong. Like,
Yeah.
and they're probably weighing in at 180, 190. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, hell no. You're like, like I'm glad I did it in the 70s when I was considered big, because now I'm a munchkin. Now people walk
Yeah.
by, I'm
Yeah.
like, which I never thought at 200 pounds, 210 pounds, I'd be saying I'm little, like,
Right.
but yeah.
But there's a lot of that dynamic happens in technology too. Because I don't know
Hmm.
if you remember when all this AI and computers were drawing pictures and stuff.
Uh-huh.
When Google first came out with their stuff, it was coming out with some dumbass pictures.
Uh-huh.
It would identify gorillas as black people.
Oh, 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 oh,
Like it
oh,
was
oh.
it
Okay.
was it was dumb.
Yes. Or the one where they had the camera that would follow you, except for it didn't recognize the black face. So if your face moved, it didn't move with you. And they
And
had to
that's what
recall
happens when
all
you
the
don't have colored people coding.
right. They had to recall all of the cameras and redo them, because if I moved, the camera stayed there because it didn't recognize my black face. So yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, yep. Yep, yep. Yeah. And and this in essence, going back to what you said, is what gets lost, right? When you start to have, we're going to let AI create everything. We're going to we're going to get rid of, all these people, but you're getting rid of diversity. And when I diversity of thought,
Hmm.
right? Like, and we are better together, like exponentially.
100%.
What we can create together far outweighs what one person is going to do in isolation,
Right.
right? Or maybe they create something in isolation, but it's all those other minds. That's why like if you're going to come out with something new, you need to have it tight, because the minute you put it out there, there's going to be 100 other people taking your idea and taking it even beyond what you even thought about, right? So if you want to
Hmm.
get yours for what you did, you need to have it ready to go, because it's only going to be yours for a hot minute,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
And these are the things that we learn in art school. Like when I went to film school,
uh-huh.
animation school, we got used to getting beat up. You put up something up on the board that was trash, we'd be like, hey,
Yeah. Like, what now?
uh-uh. Literally go back to the drawing board.
Don't put that shit up here.
Uh-uh. No, you need about another hour of work on that drawing right there.
Yeah. At least.
Yeah. No, no, no. And so they get you used to, well, they probably feed more into that uh, artist, what is it called? When you're a good artist but you think you're fake. Imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
They
Oh,
feed
yeah.
into that. But no, the thing is, you could be working on something, especially as a creative. You could be working on something and it could just not be working. And you give someone a fresh set of eyes to look,
On
and
it.
they said, no, 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 turn that blue. Turn that shit blue all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's popping. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we are better together.
We are better together. And that, I think if there's any motto that keeps me going, it's that one. Like remembering and regardless of what you look like, like
Hmm.
I'm going to try my best. I'm a human though, having a human experience, so some days are better than others, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna try my best to remain open-minded, but also open-hearted, right? And just like show me who you are. And when you show me, I don't care what you look like. If you show me what I need to see,
we
let's
good.
do it,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't, then okay, then I know you and I see you, right?
Hmm.
And so yeah, but I will say that and I wonder, like there's something to affinity groups, right? Because it's just different.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. It's just different. I go to lunch with my girlfriend, and it's just different,
Yeah.
But it's different in this way. It's like I haven't talked to you, and I don't know how long, right? I haven't seen you in a couple years, and but it's like there's just this. There's a trust. There's a knowing. There's a comfort, and I think that's a relationship,
Right.
and you know I know you've had this experience. You ever walking down the street, you see, like you were saying, when you see someone, black in Sonoma, you'd be like, hey, like I'd walk in San Diego and I'd be like, hey, what's up? And I was on a date with this white guy, and we were downtown, and I had to say hey a couple times because there was a couple of brothers, so I had to say hey. And on like the third time, he's like, do you know him? And
No,
I
but
was
I'm
like,
trying to keep you from getting your ass whipped.
if only it was that simple. I was like, I had this, when something is so out of context, I'm like, does it look like I know him? And I really thought that. And to him, the answer was yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because I said hello. I'm like, do you only say hello to people you know? Or do you think that all black people know each other? Like, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure which one it was, but we didn't have a conversation. We didn't stop on the street and hug each other like, lost long, friends. So
Yeah.
I was like, no. He's like, but why are you saying hi to? I said, because they're black. And he's like, you say, I was like, well, how many have you seen? He goes, well, we've seen three. I'm like, how many white people have we seen?
Right.
A lot.
Right.
You take this for granted. I don't take this for granted. Like,
100%.
you know, but I will tell you, so you'll appreciate this because I think you're from Chicago, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the first time I went to Chicago, I was there for a conference when I was a professor. It was AERA, American Research something something something,
Yeah.
educational something research. I get to the airport and I get there early because I have a friend who lives in the suburbs of Chicago who's picking me up. So I'm going there a weekend early to hang out with him because he moved from San Diego. He lives out there now with his wife and kids. So he's like, I'm running late. I'm like, okay, so I get in the airport and I'm like, hey, 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 Carlos. These people in the airport were like, is she okay? Like,
Yeah.
they're
You
like,
got Tourette's? What's
what
going
is
on?
that? Seriously? Like, what is wrong with her? And I realized that basically I had to say hello to the whole airport because I had
Hell
never,
yeah.
ever been in a space with that many black and brown people
Yeah.
ever, really,
Yeah.
in the US, right? I had to go to the Dominican to do that. I had to go somewhere else. So I'm sitting outside and he calls me again. He's like, I'm sorry, traffic is bad. I'm like, dude, take your time. I am gonna sit right here and I am going to appreciate all these black people that I get to look at. And he shows up, he's all like, and I was like, no, this was the best hour of my life, just watching them be, watching
Yeah.
us be. Like
Right.
it was transformative. And Chicago from that day has become one of my favorite cities to visit.
Chicago is it for me. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it there so much. So let me give you a similar story. Last summer, I took old girl to Chicago, and this is the first time that we didn't have a wedding, we didn't have family, anything.
Mhm.
We did Chicago stuff.
Yeah.
And on the north side, on Clark, there's a place called the Brunchery.
Okay.
And when I asked my sister, "Hey, what's the deal with the Brunchery?" She goes, "Go there.
Okay.
The owner and the head chef is a black dude, and he cooks his ass off."
Okay.
All right, cool. So we go there. Nancy, it was, and the north side is primarily white folks,
Okay.
but it's a good blend, right?
Okay.
But the brunchery is a black spot,
Okay.
and it was full of black people. Nancy, I wanted to rub myself with the energy. I
Yeah.
was trying to soak it in so much.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved it. I
Yeah.
love our people.
Yes.
You drop me in there, boy, I'm dancing, whether
Yeah.
it's salsa music or if you
Yes.
need me to dance some hip hop, I got you. I
Yes.
got
Yeah.
you every unos to spades. I got
Ye-
you.
Yes. 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 And that feeling, right? Like even you talking about it or me talking about just sitting in the airport, because normally I'd be pissed off sitting in the airport. I don't like an airport, right?
Yeah.
The joy, right? Just the joy of being in
Hmm.
in that energy and that presence, and what that does, and then how do we replicate that, right? How do I bring that home with me when I come back here, and replicate that joy of just being us, right? Just being able to be us unapologetically, like whether it's loud or whether it's dancing or
Sometimes it gets loud.
singing,
That I get
right?
accused of being angry all the time. I'm like, I'm not angry. I'm just telling you a story.
Right. And what, or I'm just telling you the truth, right? So I'm writing a book right now. We're in the final edits, and it goes to the publisher next week. And
Nice.
it's a series of short stories, so it's different from the other two books. But it's kind of like the origin story of my compassionate dialogue and all that, but it's told through the lens of my life. And as I'm telling these stories, I realize that some of these things I hadn't thought about since they happened, since I was young. And I realized at the end of it, like just how beautiful like my upbringing was. Like with
Hmm.
even though we were poor, like people will focus on the food stamps. They won't focus on the love in the house, right? Like we focus, people focus on the lack instead of focusing on the joy. And as I'm retelling these stories, and some of them are making me cry, most of them are making me laugh. I'm recounting the antics of my crazy ass brothers and all of us, five kids in a house because there ain't no adult in the house, and the shit's going on and shit's flying, and we're breaking picture windows, kicking in TVs sometimes. But our grandma, one of my favorite stories was like my grandmother when we were six, and I'm not kidding, six. So grandma is 1912, Alabama, right? Born.
Yeah.
Grandma was no joke. You didn't mess around with grandma. So we come home from school, and once a week she would have that Monopoly board on the floor, like, and we walk in and start crying. No, we don't want to play. And, no, and she'd be like, "Stop snibbling, get a snack, get a piece,
Yeah.
and sit your ass down." Right? You know,
My
like,
grandmother she used to play casino with her
oh,
cards.
okay,
So we'd and that was that. You show up
yeah,
at her house, you had to
yeah,
play at least three
and
hands.
and no was not an option.
No.
Quitting was not an option,
No.
right? And crying
You
was
don't make
not an
rules around here.
option.
You don't pay bills. You don't make rules.
Yeah, right. But I think I've been thinking a lot about that, just about like joy in those simple moments, right?
Yeah.
And being and appreciating what you have instead of looking at what you don't have. And if I can appreciate what I have, and then I look at someone who doesn't, it's easy for me to give something, right? It's easy
You
for
know what
me
I'm
to,
saying?
because I'm like, hell, I've been there, I know,
Yeah.
right? So I don't, if I see you out there, if I can do something, and I've been struggling. What's your thought? So, like giving money to people in the streets, and I do,
Hmm.
but I struggle with it. And so what I started doing was I started getting Subway gift cards, $10 each. I get $100 worth, and somebody's, and I
Hmm.
just give them a gift card,
That's cool.
you know. But and why do I care what they do with the money?
Well,
There's
right,
a whole different conversation, but like this is the stuff that I think about.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's grow that. Let's grow that a little bit. I saw this young black lady talking about reparations.
Yeah. Okay.
She said, "Why is it that white folks want to tell us what to do with our money? We didn't tell you what to do with yours."
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
when I heard that, I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And then I hear white folks saying, well, we're not just going to, even if it does happen, which it probably won't, but even if it does, we're not just going to drop cash on them. I did a little bit of research on that.
Uh-huh.
There was a study done in Africa. They had, I don't know if it was how many villages, but they had, let's say, two villages, and they tried to control one village and how they spent that money. And then they just plopped money on this other village.
Okay.
And the one that they just gave them the money, they figured it out before the one that was being coached.
Really? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because they know what they need,
Because they
right?
know they need.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So to get, you know what I mean? Like but that's this is why these conversations are important because I I feel like there's something a little wrong with my thinking, right? Like my need to control, and maybe because I've worked so hard for it,
Hmm.
and but then I always come back to why do I care? Like why?
Well, you care because you're about to give this person $5 or whatever, and you don't want them to use it on something that's going to hurt them.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
Because
But is
you've
it
been
even my
told
place
homeless
to
people
control
smoke
that?
crack.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, that's a whole nother, right? Like, like, where am I? And I know that I am guilty
Hmm.
of the same biases,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
About who someone is based on what they look like or
Hmm.
where they're living or
That's
not
just
living.
being human, though.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not like beating myself up for it, but
Yeah.
I think those are the critical conversations though. It's like, where do I get to like put the lens on me, shine that mirror back on me about
Hmm.
where am I perpetuating, some of the oppressor's rules, right?
Right. I do that too.
Yeah.
I do that too. Um, when I lived in LA, I was coming out of a restaurant. My roommates and I went to go have dinner, and I had my leftovers in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I go to give it to the homeless guy. I say, "Hey, dude, you hungry? Here's this," and I put it down on his belongings,
Uh-huh.
and he goes, "Yeah, but would it kill you to give me $10?" And so I took the food. And I was like, "You act like you're the only one out here."
Yeah.
I went to the next guy. I was like, "Hey, you hungry?" He said, "Hell yeah." I was like,
Yeah.
"Here's some really good pasta, son. Enjoy." He just went in there and went to work.
That's so funny. That I came out of we were in Oakland and I came out of this really good restaurant.
Girl, you know they closed the In and Out in Oakland?
I did not know that, but I try not to go to In and Out, and only because like me and my double animal style, like it gets, I'm trying to get my butt in shape after 10 years, so that's why. But we come out of this Ethiopian restaurant in Oakland, and they give you so much food. There ain't no way in hell, so the box is heavy. If you've eaten Ethiopian food, like it's heavy, it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So there's this guy by where we're parked, and I go to give him the food, and he kind of hesitates, and I look at him, and I was like, it's it's okay. And he's like, but is it good? And I'm like, and I was like, well, of course he would ask that question. Like, it's just so funny because I'm like, this is my shit, right? You're homeless, you're hungry, you're on the street, and you're asking me if the food's
You
good
could be
'cause
eating with your
you
fingers
don't,
anyway.
you don't want to take it unless it's good. And I'm like, brother, the food's really good. I'm like, so like cop a squat and dig in because it's
Yeah.
really, really good. And then he took his first bite because I waited for him. And he's like, "Oh, this is good." And I'm like, "I told you." I'm like, I'm not gonna go
I
eat
give it
something
back.
shit, and I ain't gonna take shitty food and give it to you. Like just because shitty food is better than no food, like that ain't how I roll. But anyway, I thought I do find humor in those moments, where I get to check myself about my own beliefs and like whatever you should. Anytime you start with the you should, it's fucked. So sorry for cussing.
Oh, don't even worry about it.
Okay,
I cuss all the time.
yeah.
I cuss all the time. I'm trying to design a T-shirt that says, "No, I'm really smart, but my mouth is from the hood."
Yes. Yes. I like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm really smart.
I
My
have
brain
nothing
is
but
from
potential,
Harvard,
but
but
you
my
guys
mouth
put
is
me
from
through the
the
Chicago
hood.
public school system.
That's right. Oh yeah. Yeah. You could just change the name. I'm from Brown, but my mouth is from the hood.
Right.
You know. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw something else your way. I learned like I love when I learn something new.
Tell me.
Yeah. And so yesterday I was getting my hair did and I'm gonna find my tab. And so I'm sitting there, and I don't know how we started talking about something, just kind of politics, going
Hmm.
stuff. I
Hmm.
think it was around ICE too. And then he breaks down. He's like, you know about like Tulsa, and I'm like, yeah, and
Hmm.
and I this is all the history I do know.
Hmm.
He's like, did you know that not only did they burn and murder black people and burn down black towns, but they
Here we
flooded
go.
them too. And I was like, what?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, did you know that?
Hmm.
See, I am 59 years old and I had never heard the stories of the flooding of these black communities, literally with lakes that are now
Hmm.
recreation for predominantly white folks.
They want you out.
They and some of them still have the houses and the churches and the graveyards underneath.
Isn't that heartbreaking?
Carlos.
Isn't that heartbreaking?
So
No,
I
and
had to go
I,
ahead.
I, I was told about Tulsa, so I did a little digging there, and then I
Hmm.
found out while I was doing that, I found out that Central Park used to be
Yes, Seneca
basically the same
Village.
thing.
Yes,
It
yes,
was a situation where there was black folks building their own thing. You wanted
yes,
to be separate,
yes,
so they did things separate,
yes.
and you didn't
Yeah.
like it, so you
And you didn't
took it
like this
all away.
and gave nothing. Like they couldn't pass on that generational wealth because when they got stripped of the property that they did get, that they weren't given fair, prices for them, so they couldn't rebuild. I mean, that's just you heard about that park in Long Beach, right? That one that's Newport Beach. Oh gosh, and I got a picture of it. It was, blacks weren't allowed on the beach,
Hmm.
and so with the help of some white attorneys and stuff and I want to say this is like the 70s or 80s, 70s, they black family bought this land, and these people helped them buy this land, and finally the city took it from them, and they finally won the court case and got it given back to them,
Yeah.
right? But they got a plaque up there now. So and I had heard about it, but I didn't know nothing. And so we were up in El Segundo for my cousin's 60th birthday, and we're walking down, and I'm like, this is that piece of land, that strip of land that they
Hmm.
took from this black family
Hmm.
because they didn't want them here. Like it's
Hmm.
crazy, and and that finally, what, 30 years later, 40 years later, there's some reparations for that.
Yeah.
But but you can't make reparations if you're not willing to acknowledge that wrong has been done, right?
I got to speak to a guy who's running for office up here,
Mm-hmm.
and he kept mentioning Marin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do you realize that in 2018, it was somewhere in Marin that a black family was trying to sell their house and the real estate agent gave them almost $1 million less, or they were saying it was $1 million less than what it was worth? 2018. And then what they ended up doing was changing all the pictures to white people, their white friends, and then
Money
they
they,
got the proper
yep,
property value
yep,
when they whitewashed it.
yep, yep. And
2018.
yeah, well, yeah, that it's no surprise. Yeah, it's no surprise, and even in appraisals, across the board, that happens. If you're and so when I ended up when I sold my house in San Diego, taking everything out of it. And the one advice my realtor, because I had a whole family wall, like 50 different
Mm-hmm.
small little pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, you need to take that off the wall. you know so then, and I didn't, and my house didn't sell, and then I had a dream, and it said everything needs to come out of the house. So I had a party. I invited all my friends over and did a silent auction. I'm like, I'm gonna feed you, I'm gonna apply you with alcohol, and then you need to spend your money because this house needs to be empty by tomorrow. And I did. I sold everything, every piece of art, everything down.
Nice.
2 days later, the next person who came into that house without me bought it.
Damn. Isn't that weird?
It's crazy.
Isn't that weird?
It's yeah.
So many stories like that. So many stories like that. And my sister gets some good ones too because she's half black.
Yep. Yep.
And so people think that she doesn't speak Spanish until she does.
Until yeah. Until she does. You don't know. You don't know how much I wish that was me. My sorry ass though. I took Spanish in high school. I took Spanish in college. I had to take it for my teaching credential. I did an immersion. And if I'm in the space, I can catch on really quick, but
Yeah.
I don't use it enough. And so I
Same
miss it.
here.
But oh, you don't know how much, and like I feel the same way too about German. Like when I'm over in Germany with my mom,
Yeah.
and the thing is, I understand enough to be dangerous, right? So people start talking, and you kind of look, and then they have to, so I realize is that even if I don't understand them, if I pretend like I understand, then they change their tune. You'd be like this, and they'd be like, so. But yeah,
I
that's yeah,
went I went back to Germany a couple years ago now, a few years ago now, but it was fun. It was fun. I love a challenge. So
yeah,
my
yeah,
German, I was like muscling through. I have
yeah.
a picture of me and this old lady. She had her hair was, like when old ladies start coloring their hair, so it's the red never really catches, the
Yeah.
orange never really catches, right?
Hmm. I
So
do.
it was like bright red orange hair, right? And I was taking a picture with her because I was like, "You're Lucy and I'm Ricky."
Yeah. Did she know what you were talking about?
Yeah, she did.
She did.
She
Oh, I
did.
love that. I
After
love that.
after a little while,
Yeah.
she's like, "What? What?"
What?
I'm like,
Yeah. You have to like the
"You're
Ricardos.
Lucy. I'm Ricky. I love Lucy." She's like, "Ah."
Oh,
Ah."
that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. I honestly think that it should be mandatory in high school that kids have to do a year abroad, like how they do in
Yeah.
other countries. I
Yeah.
think that we would be in a far different place with that exposure.
Mhm.
You really would just realize what a bubble we live in here,
Mhm.
and see, just appreciate what you have, but also to just have a broader perspective of like really how the world works as opposed to being in this limited, kind of environment.
Right. And again, remember the TV programs in the 70s.
Yeah.
They were making fun of these situations that we're laughing about
Hmm.
to make it to expose people and to make the blow just a little bit softer
Yeah.
because it is heavy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
boy, Archie Bunker
Yeah.
and Mr.
Do
Jefferson
you
and all
think
those
do you
guys.
think that they could be on TV today? Do you think somebody would have some issue with it?
Obviously, someone's going to have an issue with it.
Hmm.
Obviously, because you can't do anything. But I think programming like that needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think even this is another thing I found out in the 70s. Fairness. I think it was called the Fairness Act.
Hmm.
If you were giving airtime to, let's say, a right-leaning person,
Huh?
you'd have to give the same amount of airtime to left-leaning people.
Okay.
If you're teaching something, you have to teach the other. Everything
Oh, I
was
didn't know that.
equal.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. In the 70s they repealed this, or they did away with it. I don't know if they made a law,
Right.
whatever. And
Right. Or
that's why
took one away. Yep.
now we have these news silos. You
Hmm.
have your CNNs, you have
Hmm.
your Fox News, you have
Hmm.
your Newsmax,
Hmm.
and they're not forced to explain the other side of the argument. So that's why we have all of these little echo chambers of dumb
Yeah.
shit.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So even though it would hurt someone's feelings, here I had a conversation with a black dude that's a old time 2D animation for Disney guy.
Hmm. Oh, I saw that. I think that's one I watched.
Yeah. He was telling us about how he went to go work for Al Roker, and there was the character, the cartoons was about a black family, and he was the only black dude writing,
Yeah.
and he's an animator.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's funny. Somebody else telling your story, right? Through their lens, like, but that happened all the time, right? It's like,
Right.
can you get a real like, and it's not like you have to go that far,
Yeah.
right? To get the real perspective,
Right.
and why we got to have, but this, that was movies too. Some of those westerns, the Indians were white dudes, with
painted
paint on,
painted
right?
like the president. Ain't that a bitch? And we're back. Maybe that's where he got his makeup tips, is old westerns.
No. Oh, Lord,
Either that or
Lord.
the Charlie Brown Halloween special.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah,
no, I think stuff like that where we're able to address some of these issues in a humorous way, a
yeah,
humorous, caring way.
yeah, yeah,
I think would start bringing down, because the 70s were okay. It was like hella racist, but you started to see the facade crumbling.
yeah, yeah.
And then all
People
of a
were talking.
sudden,
People were at least talking to each other. Like,
yeah,
I'm a product definitely of, the 70s. And, well, hell, I grew up in West Hollywood, though. So I actually thought civil rights worked. That is my statement, because we were super diverse.
yeah,
We were naturally integrated, so we didn't have the full scale busing that was happening around LA County.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, I totally thought that we were on the other side of this, and then my ass went to school in Arizona for 1 year for college on a volleyball scholarship, and I'm like, ah! That's where I got arrested. My one little foray in jail was in Arizona. I was like,
yeah.
what the like? It was like stepping into the twilight zone. Like I had no idea. I had no idea that segregation still exists. I really didn't. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Not
then
me. I knew it was there. I had a front row seat.
yeah, yeah.
One of the weirdest stories, not weirdest, because I went up to Wisconsin
Mm-hmm.
with a friend. We're gonna go visit his girlfriend, and and so we get to the house. We're sitting on the porch, just talking like teenagers. I was 14, 15.
Okay.
Her dad gets home from work and comes to the front door and sees me, and he says, "Is that one of them N words on my porch?"
No.
I
Oh,
went,
no,
I
no.
went left from there. I went straight to the train station. My friend was like, "What's going on? Why are you leaving?" The girl was like, "Wait, like, yeah." I'm like, no, 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 we don't play that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't play
See,
that game. I'm going home.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think ultimately, because my foundation did not have really any of that,
Mm-hmm.
that it made me more open to trying to resolve it, because I can hold a grudge if I want to, you know. So yeah, because I didn't, you didn't even, we didn't even hear the N word, like we just didn't. And um but what it, so I think it's served me in some ways, but how it didn't serve me was I was totally naive to its existence. So
Mm-hmm.
like going somewhere else, and it felt like a slap in the face, like of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this shit still happens,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's for reals, like,
Mm-hmm.
um yeah. And that was hard. That was that kind of like wake up call, that
Mm-hmm.
my little microcosm was just that it was not representative of the larger experience.
Well, what
um
a wonderful way to grow up.
Yeah, I think so. And that's what I come back to. I think that, well, it gave me this foundation. It gave me a place of, like, I was very confident. I had a lot of confidence. I had a lot of, I saw the value in me. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of deficit beliefs being kind of forced down on me.
Mm-hmm.
And even, the one thing that probably could have happened, like 11 years old, I'm already 5'7", 135 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a foot taller than the next person in my class graduating from sixth grade. And so I did have a little, like, kind of dysmorphia going on, but it didn't last long, because then I realized that my body was actually my power. Like,
Sure.
it was my ticket. And
Yeah.
so, being that much stronger and that much bigger than everybody else, that's my mom left when we were 11, and my grandmother had a stroke when we were 12, so we started working at 12. No real
Yeah.
adults in the house. And I was able to get a job because I looked like, you know like like a young woman.
I
Like,
look grown.
I look grown, I acted grown. So, they hired me, and then when they found out that I was 12 years old, they tried to fire me. I was like, I kept showing up. I'm like, you don't get to fire me, because I need this job, and they're so you need to pay me, and you
Yeah.
need to, so I'm working at this roller disco flippers from on La Cienega in Santa Monica, from literally like 5, 6 o'clock until 2 a.m., and then getting up and going to school in the morning. And I did that for 2 years, while the whole time it was open. And then I was finally old enough to have a work permit, because then I was 14, and so I could work at the movie theater, right? But for two
Yeah.
years, like, I started off as a bar back, and then they then they found out how
The
old I was. It's
12-year-old
like,
year
oh yeah, you gotta get from behind the
old.
bar.
If you don't get out of here.
Seriously, that's and then so I moved over to the skate shop side. I had to get out of the bar side, but I was like, yeah, no, yeah, yeah, so that was the only thing that could have been an issue, but it wasn't, because I saw the value of what I had, right? But so that is that foundation of not having to have that kind of just bullshit laid on you every day, you know, because what that does to your soul, I just, I don't know.
Yeah. And that traveling is going to make your life so much better.
Yeah,
Expose yourself to different people. Those people aren't out to get you.
yeah,
People that don't have anything might be out to get you. Let's keep it
yeah,
real.
yeah, yeah. That's why you wear the belt underneath your pants.
Yeah.
The money belt stays close to the body. You can always tell, so, like, okay, so, you're like in Italy, right? And I see people still hanging like their purse in the back. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But those are also, I mean, well, this is, so that knowledge that you gain when you're poor, that is a survival skill in the end, right? That lets you
Yes,
know
ma'am.
everywhere you go, there are, poor, disaffected folks who will see you as someone to take something from. And I can always tell those people who maybe had a little bit too easy because it's in their backpack sitting right here.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm like,
Like, I am like, you are very confident. I tell this story all the time. We went to Dubai,
uh-huh.
and in Dubai, they have cameras everywhere. And they have where if you steal something, they take your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
And I walked out and I walked by this coffee shop, and there was this table out in the street with a laptop just sitting there.
Yep. Because
I
you
was
in
like,
Dubai,
you
they're
are
not messing around.
daring me. You are daring me. I just to see if I could do it.
Yeah. And I'm sure that thought lasted 1 second. Like
Half
you
a
don't
second.
mess around.
Half a second.
So when I went to Dubai, I was the only woman in my group who came alone,
Hmm.
and so I went to school. Most of my classmates were Middle Eastern, and so our class reunion was in Dubai, and they were like, this is you don't have to worry about your safety necessarily, but as a single woman you're never going to be alone while you're here, and that was just it. So I
Yeah.
got off the plane, I got to my hotel, and that was the last time I was alone, literally, until so we had to check out. So the reunion was 4 days, everyone left. My flight wasn't until 7 because I was continuing on to like Singapore or something. And my friends find out that I'm there alone, that I'm going to be, and they're like, oh no. So they both take off work, they pick me up, they take me to this outdoor area by the water, and I was like, but this is 11, my flight's not until 7. And they're like, and we will be dropping you off at 5 o'clock at the airport. And they sat with me for 5 hours and just ate and talked, because they're like, you will not be alone while you're here because you're a woman. You're not going to be alone, and this is a safe place, but you're not going to be alone. And but I will say that there was something about, like, I had never really been taken care of. I'm like, I could kind of get used to this.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like
Oh, that's
somebody
why
else.
you guys do this.
Yeah, it's like I kind of liked having, these guys, and looking out for me. And also, I don't know that I got to spend a penny once I got there. Like, they were like, you came all this way, you're not spending. And it's also another thing too, like culturally, which I'm not used to. Again, it's like, the bill comes, I'm reaching in my pocket and I get a hand on me. They're like, and then I look around at the other women that are there and know I'm the only woman reaching for my purse, right? Everybody else is just like talking, and
Yeah.
all the men are splitting up, divvying in the check, and I'm like, God, this is a whole nother world. Like,
Yeah.
and there was something nice about it, I have to say, like, of just like not having to worry about it, not having to, and people who love you, like, this is how they also show you that they care for you. Like, this is one of the ways, is by looking out for you. So, yeah, my week in Dubai was amazing because
Yeah.
it was an experience, a culture that I had only known at arm's length, and to be there, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. Uh, everything is the world's largest, the world's
Yes,
widest, the world's
yes,
biggest, the
yes,
world's
yes, yes,
this, the
yes,
world's
yes,
that.
yes,
That part, you take out the what do they call it? The small d energy. Take that part of out of it, and it's still an incredible place.
yeah,
The people are very kind.
yes, yeah.
They, if you're from Dubai, you get what we consider universal basic income.
Really,
So you only work when you want more than
the
that
basic.
gets you.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And tell me, if we wouldn't solve a lot of these problems that we have with a similar approach,
Yeah, yeah.
if we're the richest country in the world, we
Do you
have all
believe
the
that?
best schools,
Well, I don't believe
which is, I know.
that. Yeah.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's what
You're
they say.
perpetuating a rumor.
Yeah.
Perpetuating a fraud, as my brother would say.
If we all that and a bag of chips,
And a bag of chips, yeah. Then why aren't we doing better?
why aren't we
But
doing better?
yeah, and doing more, and the benefits for everybody, right? Like again,
Yeah.
you thrive, I
Yeah.
thrive, we thrive.
Then all of a sudden, all of us get to go to the west side of Chicago, watch a basketball game, and not have to worry about
Yeah,
people in the streets about to
that's right.
take that
That
underbelt that you just got to.
going down with a fight to say it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fighting. Yeah, no. And actually, I'd hand that belt over. I had this when I taught in juvenile hall. I did this because the kids didn't have a lot of exposure, and I wanted them to see black and brown people doing things outside of the stereotypical, right? So one day I brought
Singing
in
in
a
sports. Yeah.
Mexican pilot, for United, and another day I brought in a black chef, So I was doing this. So the black chef, he about 6'3", former military, fit and fine, like he's no joke.
Hmm.
And he comes in dressed to the nines. Like this brother does not play. When he dresses up, he is fine. So he comes in, he's got these, $500 shoes on. He's in, his fitted, pants, and he's like the swimmer body, like the, like
Yeah.
so already the boys, because I'm in the hall and it's a boys unit, so it's all boys and they're all black and brown, and they're already staring at him because he's just this big brother, and he's a chef, and so they're trying to reconcile chef, like, did you play sports? They can't
You
get it.
look like you could catch a touchdown.
Because they're also bought into this, right? So we're and it's a Q&A, so he talks to them about his work, and then there's time for Q&A. It's an hour session. But there's this one kind of big Samoan kid, in there, and he's just kind of side-eyeing, you know, my friend Courtney, and Courtney's like, "What's up, man?" He's like, he's like, "I see those shoes." He's like, "What would you do if I jacked you for those shoes?" And probation's already starting to get up, and and Courtney, without missing a beat, and I am not kidding, he jumped out of the shoes. It was almost like they were slides. He jumped out of the shoes. He picked them up and he put them on the table in front of this boy. And everyone, all the kids are like looking, and they're like, and then the kid goes, "You just gonna let me jack you like that?" He's like, "Look, brother, I bought them once. I can buy them again.
You know what
I'm
I'm
a
saying?
father. I'm a wife. I'm a husband. Ain't no pair of shoes worth me not
Me not
showing up.
getting home.
So if you
Oh
want
yeah.
those shoes,"
There you go.
and I was like, "I'm done. My work is done. I don't need to say nothing," because it was that moment, right? Like, and seeing, because they're all about posturing and being big and bad, and they didn't. It's like, you can be big and bad, but a gun is still going to take you out, right? You're not so big and bad that you can resist a bullet, right? You ain't Superman.
Right.
So, he did that, and I saw a light bulb go off for some of my boys, right? About, like, they're fighting over jackets and kicks and stuff that has, maybe 500, $200, but your life, like, let's
Right.
put it into perspective,
Right.
you know but this is also that creation, right? Like, we're fighting over material things without understanding that those aren't the things that actually matter, right? This t-shirt's from Target. I'm okay with that. Do you know, like, it gets the job done, and it's too.
My t-shirts are old as hell.
Yeah, yeah. Don't
As
don't let my
long as they
husband be
don't
part of
have
this
those
conversation.
weird pit stains, I am good.
Or holes, like mine get the holes in my belt is, right?
It
For my
depends on where the
belt.
hole is. It might be
Yeah,
stylish.
yeah, hey, yeah. If my husband had it his way, they would all be in the trash. He's trying really hard to throw them away. I'm like, you can't throw them away until I get new ones. So, but yeah, but I don't know. I think about I think about that, and I think about, how important it is that, like what you're doing right now, even having these conversations and just putting information and perspectives out into the world,
Hmm.
like how important that is. And you're having fun with it too, and that's also important, right? To show that, these heavy topics don't have to weigh us down. They can actually, we can resolve them and solve them, and still find joy in the process, even if they're painful.
Right. Because my thing is always, and then what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the black and brown communities are struggling. Okay. And then what?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need to find funding. Okay. Well, where's the money coming from? Well, over there. Okay. Down. And then what?
And then what? Right. Right. Yeah.
And unfortunately, what I see in today's society is black and brown communities have been whatever they say on the news forever, so it's not worth fixing.
Yeah.
That's not good enough for me.
Yeah. No, it's not good enough for anybody.
Right.
And everybody suffers from that mentality, like
Everybody
not just those
suffers.
communities.
Yeah.
And I think that when I think about the work that I have been doing for the last decade or so, it's really about showing how the the victims are not just the actual like ones who are immediately like, we're
Mm-hmm.
all victims of this. Like
Mm-hmm.
your white family is a victim of this too,
Mm-hmm.
and you may not know it now, you may not feel it now, but even growing up with animosity and hate in your heart, that's you're a victim, right?
Yeah.
Like it's stealing your joy. Like
Right.
for you to hate me so much actually is stealing your joy.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know what? I am so glad you said that. Will you tell people, this is going to sound kind of rough, but I like to remind white folks that white folks are far more worried about what black and brown people are doing than black and brown people give a fuck what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't care. We got bills.
Yeah.
We got families. We
Yeah.
got jobs to
Yeah.
go to. We have jobs to find. We
Yeah.
also have hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
We also want to invent. We also want to create. We
Yeah.
also want to flip rockets and shit like that.
Yes. 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 Yeah, it's true, and I think that's a hard reality, and you can't underestimate the value of that like mental real estate, right? So the amount of mental real estate that you give me, what could you be doing with that, right? If you weren't worried about me, like stealing. So, uh, I was at a pickleball tournament. I told you this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I the way it was set up, it was weird because the courts, it's not meant for a tournament, so it's not meant for spectators. So you're kind of looking through the screen that keeps the wind block down, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because the courts are so small, everyone's got their bags kind of outside the courts, and
Okay.
then they're playing inside the courts with the screen. So I'm leaning against the wall.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to play the next round, and someone I feel it, I see it, and I know he's gonna come, and this bag that's here that's open, and it got like he is, but and it's a different energy, and people are gonna say like she's full of shit, or you don't know, he
Yeah.
was maybe just getting his bag,
Yeah.
but I do know,
Yeah.
because I
Because
wasn't
you know.
thinking about him until his energy came to me. Like, and that's like and that's what people don't understand. It's like your body knows shit is going down before your brain can make any sense of it, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
all of a sudden, you and I can be just talking, and because we both know that energy shifts in the room, and all of a sudden we ain't talking as much, and we're paying attention to what's going on around us because there's been an energy shift. And I know, like he was like I could tell him struggling to decide if he was going to come over and check on his bag or not check on his bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's exhausting.
Let me tell you this one. I love golfing. and I went golfing with Boomer from Corner 103.
Okay. Okay.
And then we got paired up with a couple people. Uh, and it was this hole where you had to leave your cart here and then you go up
Okay.
the little hill and you tee
Okay.
off. And so I'm coming back from teeing off, and there's someone like looking through my side of the cart. We had a foursome, two
Uh-huh.
carts, but this dude was only looking through my side of the cart of the four seats. He was only looking through my, and I walk up and I was like, "Yo, like,
What's up?
what? What are you doing?" Oh, I'm looking for my rangefinder. And I said, "Okay,
Wait, was he part of your foursome?
no." He was part of the group that was in front of us. And he goes, "Oh, because maybe I left it here." I said, "Well, you didn't leave it
In
in
my
my
cart?
fucking cart." He's like, "No, I was just looking for my." I said, "Then why are you looking at my stuff? I just got done telling you I have my own." Showed it to him. I have my own. Why are you here?
Yeah.
And then he like starts to walk off, and I was like, "Fuck out of here, asshole!" And then the old dude that was in the other cart in our foursome, but in the other cart, he had gotten to know me and stuff, because we're joking around and you know
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I said, "Get the fuck out of here, asshole," the old dude was like, "Yeah, you asshole."
Because you must be an asshole. If this guy's calling you an
You
asshole,
must be an asshole.
you must be an asshole. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's my
That's
life.
funny.
That's my life.
I got one quite the reverse. So I got my golf clubs at a garage sale,
Yeah.
and it was the kind of bag that was like an old sock that didn't have any elastic. So if you stood it up, the the bag. Okay, the bag would fall, right? And then to insult to injury, it was when woods were woods, when they were really woods.
Yeah,
My drivers were woods.
that was my first set too.
So, but then the drivers all had crochet
The
covers
head
with
covers.
little,
So you're not
and
looking
then
like someone's grandpa.
so so we're in this. So when I was on the board for Dollars for Scholars, and so one of the fundraising events we did was a scramble, and I'm part of this. I'm on the foursome, and so I'm golfing, and I guess I left like my little
The head
cover
cover. Yeah.
fell off the cart somewhere. And so this guy, and so like and I'm sorry, I can't even get it out. Oh, I'm like literally one of the only black people on this course. And this guy comes running with shaking.
Something tells me this is yours.
Oh my god. Okay. So and now I am laughing my ass off.
Oh my
And I
god.
think that my foursome is somewhere in between like mortified and like humorous because and the person who's coming up is not part of our scramble, so and I was like it is, I'm the only black person. He comes and finds me. So one of the guys I'm golfing with though works for TaylorMade, and he was a volleyball player too. So I got him on my scramble because we were becoming friends. And so, like the following weekend, I'm at the beach, and he's like, "I got something for you." So he has me walk to his car, and he's got me a brand new set of golf clubs. He's like, "Never again will that happen."
Don't be bringing that shit.
He was so embarrassed that he got me a set of golf clubs. Oh my god, I haven't thought of that story in years.
I have
But
so
yeah,
many
it
good
was
golf
funny. I was like,
stories.
yes, I am the one. That was me. Those are mine. That's mine. That's
Yeah.
mine.
Yep. I have so many golf
But how am I going
stories.
to spend money on some golf clubs? I ain't got no money, and
You know?
the money I do have, I'm not. I play golf once a year. Why would I spend money on it? So I thought it was completely reasonable that I had these garage sale golf clubs. I did, but he didn't think it was reasonable.
Yeah, I have quite a few golf stories. Anyway, I told you
I
what
know. Look at that.
right before we started, everybody, I told Miss Nancy Dome, hey, look, time flies when you're having a good time. 2 hours is gonna rush up on you. She's like, I don't have two
I
hours.
don't have 2 hours. I don't have it.
We're almost at two and a half.
Yes, I know, crazy. But you know what? I could talk to you all day though, Carlos, honestly, because I am so deep in this work that I do, and it's always very serious.
Yeah.
And there needs to be some levity. There needs to
Mm-hmm.
be this, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is the discourse that I want to have, even with my clients. Like, I want us to laugh about the crazy stuff and then fix it, right?
Right.
Like, instead of like everything is so heavy all the time. So I am
Right.
in gratitude to
Right.
just be in this space and to talk about unrelated shit and tell crazy stories and talk about what's going on in the world and maybe have an impact on someone, or if nothing else, bring a little humor because I'm a cheap ass with some knitted caps for my woods, and the sock falls down in my golf bag. Like, if I can give you a laugh, I'm happy about it. But I appreciate the space.
Yeah. Of course. It's my pleasure. Um, it's it's one of my things. And I think it's the way that I grew up, going to so many different schools and moving so many
Hmm.
times. You know, as a kid, you don't realize that there's a plan for you
Hmm.
and that those things that you're going through are going to pay off in the end. So, and I understand everything about feeling like there's no more moves to make and I'm stuck. And I get that. I get that. But you need to understand that if you just keep your legs moving, keep your feet pumping, man,
That's right. That's right.
you're going to turn around one day and you're going to say, wow, I had, what a life. What
Yeah.
a life.
Yeah.
But going through all those things has taught me how to laugh at myself
Yep.
and be able to, use my big mouth to like carve out a safe space for people to vent and you know I I like to think I'm physically big enough to where if I tell people to leave you the fuck alone, guess what they're gonna do?
That's right. No. Hey, there's something to be said about that too, right? If you need to, right?
Right.
Hopefully you don't have to, but
I
I
don't
always
want
say
to,
that.
but I will. But I don't
Yeah,
want to.
I feel like when I talk to my people, I'm like, you know what, I can be vulnerable because, like, so if I think about my communication style, I'm personal and intuitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I think about my affect, I am somewhere between a passive aggressive, aggressive, and assertive. I don't do passive. Passive don't live in me, right? And all
Not
those
even
things
on
are so
accident.
very close, right? And so I can be vulnerable because if I need that aggression, it's there. If I need
Mm-hmm.
that passive aggression, that sarcasm, it's there. And assertive is always there, right? But if it's like knowing that you got that backup in your back pocket. Like if I need to, like I don't want to, but if I need to, and I'm not in any, like, I'm not even talking about physical confrontations. Like, I'm not in any like, I'm not fooling myself that I could take you on, right? But I will hurt you.
Hmm.
You may
You're gonna
finish
think
me,
about me.
but you go remember me, like, and
Shit.
I say that kind of jokingly, but kind of serious too. It's like,
Right.
you know, um, like I am, if I think about a stress conflict reaction, that's kind of my go-to. It's fight. You know, I'll try to move out of the harm's way or out of. But if I can't, I mean, I'm definitely not the one who's gonna get down in the corner, right? And so but I think having that as an option allows me to be far more open and vulnerable. And the beauty is, I have found that the majority of people meet me there,
Yeah,
right? They
I
respect,
agree.
and then they meet me there, and I've rarely had to
Hmm.
pull it out, right?
Hmm.
And when I do, I just like, hey, you know what? This is you're barking up the wrong tree, so see ya. You know, I'm out of here. But
I
I
always
rarely
tell
have
them,
to do
hey,
that.
don't let the jungle out.
Yeah, you know, I thank my three. God gave me three older brothers for a reason.
Right.
You know, he really did, and the crazy ass sister. So that you know, in our household, you know, fisticuffs were normal. So
Hmm.
you know,
Mama did raise no punk.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Yeah, I remember my brother one time. I hit him, and I don't know, I was 14, 15, and I saw, and then I did this because I'm like, he's coming, you know. And then I did this, and he had this crazy look in his eyes, like his eyeballs were like looking at me, and he's got me pinned down. And he's like, "You've lost your fucking mind."
Mm-hmm.
And he got up, and he's like, "I'm gonna leave before I kill you."
Because it's coming.
But hey, you know, I was like, but you know what?
Enough is enough.
He never touched me again because he would have had to kill me. Like that's
Yeah.
how crazy it is. You know, like he would have had to hurt me because I was like, I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with you all putting hands on me. I'm done with, you know, you being pissed off and like taking it out on me. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so I was like, and you raised us that way. You know, you raised, and grandma raised us that way. You know what my grandmother's nickname was? I found out like 30 years after she died. Lady Joe Lewis.
Damn.
My mom found a
So
letter. It's
she
actually going
throws
to be in the book.
dukes.
They found a letter when my mom died. This woman wrote a letter because she couldn't attend the funeral, and she told the story of grandma going out in the streets and tearing it up because someone had laid a hand on one of my brothers. She's like, her nickname in the community was Lady Joe Lewis. You didn't fuck with her, you know, grandma. You didn't, and you didn't. We didn't. Grandma, even when grandma was old, even when she had had a stroke and was paralyzed halfway, you didn't. You
Yeah.
still didn't say no. You're like, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
No, not
Did she
today.
find a way to get that fucking walker? She's like, what'd you say?
I'm going to get you.
Even if it takes me a minute, you sit there while like she make you sit and wait for her to come to you to beat you. One time I was not gonna wait, so I crawled under the bunk bed and she got a broom and started stabbing me with the end of the broom. She was like, "Oh, she gonna get hers. She gonna get hers." So you know, I channel my grandma
Yeah. Shout out grandmas.
for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, this new book is a love letter to her. I think in the end, that's kind of what it turned out to be. You know.
Yeah. This is your third book?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fourth, the third
Okay.
solo, fourth. Yeah, one
Yeah.
co-authored one.
So this is more of a storybook?
Short stories,
Cool.
short stories tied to the work I do, but really my life. You know, kind of just like
Reflection,
the
kind of.
evolution. Yeah, yeah. It's actually based on Sankofa. So yeah, the principles of Sankofa of looking back in order to move forward.
I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. It's a Ghanaian imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful. And you
yeah.
said it's the
It's
next
released.
step
We're
is
hoping
happening
May.
next week.
Yep, next week. So I got some reading to do tonight to finish. We've been in that final draft mode, just cleaning it up, make sure it reads. So yeah, and then it goes off to the publisher on Monday, and we're actually trying a publisher out of the UK. She is a kind of independent, does some beautiful books, has had some award winners. Black woman, British, just and she, it's the first time like in talking with her, and I had worked with her before I thought about her publishing this book. Um, that like to talk to a publisher who gets you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who understands why you're telling these stories and who your market should be and how to market you. Um, Instead of it being part of this machine and this algorithm that of that yeah, I was an Amazon bestseller, but at the end of the day, I'm looking for New York Times. I'm looking for that's what it would that's what I hope is, because that means that people are reading it, because I think the messages are good in the book. Yeah.
I'm excited for your book.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Me too. Me too. Thank you.
We're
Oh,
at 2.5 hours, so I'm
all
going to let
right.
you go get to your reading.
Yes. I got some hours left, but I'm going to squeeze some sushi in the middle of that. So,
So before we wrap up, take a moment, let people know um, whatever it is that you want them to know, and then let them know where they can find you online.
okay. So I think if I think of what I want people to know right now, I think it really is about slowing down and remembering your humanity. Remembering that what's happening to our communities across this country is also happening to you. You're not removed from it. And then figure out what it is that you can do. Like, everyone doesn't need to be out there marching. Everyone doesn't need to be running for an office, but there is something that we can do. And for those people who at one point thought that they supported this but are seeing the humanity in the inhumanity in it, to give yourself grace, to know it's okay to change your mind, and that we always have every day is an opportunity for us to do better. And so that, if I have any message, I mean, I know we've been having a lot of fun talking, but that's where my heart goes all the time. It's like, if we're going to have change, it is going to happen in the ground. It's going to be the individuals. It's not, the system isn't going to change first. It's going to be us who changes the system, right? Um, and we need to realize that life is not a pie. It's not like finite amount of pieces.
Right.
Like,
We can grow the pie.
yeah, yeah. It's the resources are infinite,
Right.
right? There's no lack. As long,
Literally everything we need is here. If you
literally,
believe in God,
that's right.
everything you
Everything,
need is we
right.
need is here.
So, yeah, I just that's my message. And then if you want to find me, it's Epoch Education, EPOCH education.com. There's also my website, which is drnancydome.com. I'm always down for a conversation. I'm actually doing a free webinar next Thursday at 4 o'clock. Kind of just putting, I'm trying to, again, the way I can give is like, here's a hour thing. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Just like, let's learn
Come
how to
and
have
listen
these
and learn.
difficult conversations. Yeah, and not even listen, because it's completely participatory. Like,
Cool.
don't come sit and listen. Come and expect that I'm going to push you to say something. Because if we don't practice having these, being in discomfort, if we don't practice having these conversations, when they happen, we're not ready, right?
Exactly.
So for me, I'm going to see how it goes, but if it goes well, I'll do them every month if people will come, honestly. And again,
Hmm.
I'm not trying to sell anything, because because I think the bigger thing right now is that we need to have a different conversation. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm going to leave off by saying, Nancy Dome, I love you so much.
I love you so much, Carlos Gomez. I do. Yes.
I purposely call you Doc so people can ask me why I call you Doc so I can brag about you.
Aw. Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I love you. I love the work that you do.
Thanks.
And I love that I'm able to help bring just a little bit of attention
Yeah.
to your efforts.
Yeah.
Because I
Thank
do think, like, if you don't know Nancy, everything she does is through the heart. Everything. And she does really do care about people and making positive, good change for everyone.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
thank you for
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you, and thank you
Thank
for
you
the
for being
time.
wonderful.
Thank you for just creating the space and for being you, and just, I'll sit and talk to you for hours any day. So
Challenge accepted.
you got it.
All right, everybody. And with that, we're out.
Okay, peace out.
Coconut Justice.